So today we're going to be reviewing Xpeng, I think that's how you say it, Xpeng's iron. So Xpeng's iron is sort of competing with Tesla's Optimus, or they were competing with Tesla's Optimus in the beginning. Those were only the really two big players in the industry. But then out of nowhere, all these startups came out of nowhere and have sort of started to outshine Optimus and Iron, where these ones are actually starting to lag behind some of the other ones. And I would say mostly the reason that's happening, and this is just my stance on it, is Tesla and Xiaomi. I think that's how you say it. They're both car companies, right? And they want to become AI companies, but they still have their car business they have to focus on mostly. So what ends up happening is they have the funding to work on these projects, but they don't have the time. Whereas startups like Figure, they're only making these AI robots, or like Fauna. So they have the time to really put passion and energy and work ethic and grit into theirs. Whereas Tesla, yeah, they have all that, but they can't really allocate it correctly to make sure that they're out competing with the other ones, because they have their cars, they have their car business, and they can't stop with that. You see what I'm saying? So that's where these are right now. Or it's not Xiaomi, it's Xpeng. My fault. I'd say it looks creepier than before, mostly because they're using it. Like, I like when there's no wiring showing, but I like when you can still tell it's a robot and you're not like trying to hide that it's a robot. So this one looks like an alien to me. I do have to say, because they do hide everything about it. So then it just has his face, and it really does look alien.
Our goal is
So yeah, you can see the bottom that they have that. But if they didn't cut that, you wouldn't be able to tell that it's a robot until you saw the face. So I don't know how I feel about that.
to create the most human-like robot possible. This vision drives every team at Xpeng Robotics, uniting our efforts in industrial design, mechanical engineering, motion control, and beyond.
We've always wanted our robot to feel familiar. It moves with a quiet kind of grace, soft arms, warm gestures, and hugs.
And then followed it up with solid engineering optimization. When we were developing its movements, we realized
I can't imagine how much time this took to make. Just looking at that.
just how important the waist degrees of freedom are. Instead of using simple rotational joints, we designed a structure that's more like a real human spine. We also tried adding even more DOF to see if we could boost performance. But of course, that made the control system more complex. Thanks to all this work, our robot can now do genuinely human-like actions, things like shrugging or hugging, and even simple motions such as nodding, bending, or walking now look much more natural and fluid.
It's actually very similar for robots.
Almost human, but during a live demo, something unexpected happened. It lost balance. It fell. And that moment says more than the hype ever could. This isn't failure. It's progress happening in public. And the scary part, every fall makes the next version smarter. The humanoid race is just getting started. This is Xpeng's iron humanoid robot.
So yeah, it looks like it fell. I don't know.
This
Why does it walk like that? He walks with his arms out. All right. So overall, I do like the design. I think both are really good. They just have to kind of make it more robotic looking, kind of like less uncanny in a way. But they have a good name. Iron's not a bad name. It definitely leans industrial though, so I doubt you'd be seeing this one really do anything but that. And so overall for the design, I'd give it a 7.4 out of 10. For use cases, it seemed pretty capable. We saw it fall, but we've seen it do a lot pretty well. We saw it walking around in front of an audience, looking pretty good. So for use cases, I'll give this one an 8.2. For security, I mean, it's Xpeng. They are already an established company, but they are based in China. So depending on where you live, that may vary security-wise, but if you live in China, I'd say it's a 10 out of 10. I don't think anyone watching this is living in China, though. Now I think of it. Hey, if you live in the United States, which is most people watching me, it would probably not be secure to buy this. And vice versa, if you were living in China, it would probably not be secure to buy a Tesla Optimus. Just because. Or when I say just because, I say because they're so far apart, you can't hold accountable the person with your information. So if they decide, oh, I'm going to take all your information, which I'm not saying would happen, but if it did happen, you realistically would not be able to do anything about it legally. Or not legally, just in general either, unless you flew all the way over to China and then yelled at them. That would be probably all you could do. Yeah, so overall, Iron will be getting a 7.8 out of 10. 7.8. That's such a boring score, I know. 7? It's like everything's a 7 out of 10 nowadays, but I'm an honest reviewer, so when when you hear me say 7.8 out of 10, I'm not just saying a 7 out of 10 number just because I want to say a 7 out of 10 number, and it's the first 7's the first thing that comes to my head because that's the first number that comes to everyone's head. But no, the gears were turning in my head. So many mental processes were going into account to calculate that 7.8 out of 10, and that's what Iron is. Nothing less, nothing higher. And if you disagree with me, let me know, but I'm not going to change the review. So yeah, that was Iron. Hope you enjoyed. And that's the review.